So I have to pop some makeup on today for a couple of photo shoots, but I woke up this morning with really quite blotchy skin. So I thought I would actually just film how I do my face when I want to do a bit of concealing. So I'm going to start with one of my favorite bases, which is a Touche Eclat base from Yves Saint Laurent. I'm just going to dot that everywhere. I normally use either a 30 or a 40. This one is a 30. My skin is a little bit paler at the moment because I haven't had any sun, like a lot of people. Anyway, it's a really good base. I was introduced to it by Kerry September, who normally does my makeup for photo shoots. And it just has good coverage and it stays on. And it's not too drying, so it's quite good, I think, for older skin. So I'm just popping that everywhere. Sometimes I'd mix it with a kind of a primer, but I just want to do a quick, hopefully a quick but good makeup, because I haven't got a huge amount of time, but I do need it to look okay. So always take it well down into the chin to make sure there's no hard lines, but that's pretty much the colour of my skin at the moment, so I think that's kind of okay. Now I'm going to use two concealers just because my skin is a bit blotchy. So I'm going to use this one for under eyes. It's It Cosmetics. I'll pop all the details down in the post, but it is really good for covering up dark circles. It just goes on and it does not shift. So this colour is, for me, it is Light Sand, number 12. And I'm actually going to do a little double layer, I think, just to really make sure that those dark shadows are hidden. And it works really well when you're having a picture taken, I have to say, or if you're sat in front of a camera lens, maybe on endless Zoom meetings. Then the other concealer that I like to use is just a bit more lightweight. It's a bit more flexible. It's the Clarins one. It's called Instant Concealer. I use this a lot. And this actually works really well. You can kind of dot it to blend it in with foundation. So if you've got any little marks on your face that you need to hide, and it comes in lots and lots of different shades depending on your own skin tone. This one that I'm using is 01, so it's quite pale, and just tap that in. I like to work with my fingers. Just think that you get a better finish on your face, and otherwise I find that product just gets stuck on a brush or a sponge. Oh, I got there a mark of something. Anyhow, yeah, so that is just sort of evened everything out a bit. And then to set it, I'm going to use just a Laura Mercier translucent powder. This is one that I've used for years. Just take a little bit on your brush and tap it off, tap the excess off, because you only want the tiniest bit really left on. And I always put it where you want the most first, if you see what I mean, because that's on the brush. So I pop it on my forehead first, because that's where I want most of it. And then take it down the kind of center line of the face, and then just sweep it out to the sides, because you want less on your cheeks, but more on your kind of T-zone, the shinier bit. And I like to keep just a bit of natural glow on the cheeks, so I don't like to have too much powder on my cheeks. So I'll do it kind of down the middle, across the forehead, and down. You know, it's good to put it around your jawline as well. And I love a nice big fat blusher brush, because you can just swirl it in so it fits in all the little crevices. Then, particularly if you are in front of a camera of any kind, using a pale powder under your eyes, a setting powder, is really good. This one again is, it's called Ethereal Light, and I think, it doesn't say who it's by. I will find out who it's by, and then I can pop it in the details. Looks as if it might be Laura Mercier because of the colour of the packaging, but it's just a white powder, do you see? And that is quite good, just to get a little concealer or powder brush that you keep separate so it doesn't have any other colour on it. And that just sets your concealer under your eyes. Again, it's giving another little bit of light reflection, just so those dark circles disappear. They've just gone. And you can even put a little bit down the main bit of your nose here if you want, just to kind of accentuate that. Then this is what Kerry September calls shaping. She doesn't like the word contouring, but she likes the word shaping. So I'm going to use a blusher brush that's like that, that's sort of slightly angled. This is actually a very old palette I've had for ages. It's a Charlotte Tilbury one. It's got a highlighter on one side and a bronzer the other. I'm going to start just with the highlighter, just because it's the paler colour to pick up on my brush. And I'm just going to put a bit of that over my temples and the top of my eyelids and just here, just because that's where you want to look a little bit highlighted. So I just do it in that order just because it's easy, really. And then using the same palette, I'm using the darker colour. And this is where you do your shaping. So suck your cheeks in, and you want to just do this little bit here. Not too much, otherwise it'll just look crazy, like too much contouring. But just a little bit. So it's ending up kind of sitting under your cheekbones, and then you can put colour on the actual cheekbone. But that does work to give you a bit of a sculpted look. My face is quite round, and I've got quite fat little cheeks, but that's fine because it is a bit more youthful. So it's quite pays sometimes to have a bit of fat in your face. And then you just go underneath here as well if you want to do a little bit of sculpting. You know, we tend to lose a bit of jaw definition as we age. So I just take it under my chin and just a little bit here. I probably wouldn't bother with this in real life, but just because I'm going to have my picture taken later, then that will add a bit of definition. Then some blusher. And one of the reasons why I didn't put too much powder on my cheek is I like to use a cream blusher. This is a Beauty Pie one, which I really like. It's called Universal Pink. So you want to smile into the mirror so you get your cheek apples like that. And then just dot that on the real center point and blend that out. And that just gives you a healthy kind of flush of colour. There we go. And again, not putting powder on top I find is helpful because that just gives you a slightly more natural glow. Then if you think about your face has lots of different colours on it naturally, lots of different, very different subtle tones. So rather than just stick to one colour, which can look a bit artificial, it's quite nice to add another colour on top. Again, this is a Beauty Pie called Go Rouge. And I will just use, so it's that sort of apricot-y colour. Just a little bit of that just swept over the top and taken up into the hairline. So when you're looking at somebody, you know, you're not just seeing one colour, you're just seeing a more natural look. And then you can use the brush just to blend everything in so there's no harsh lines. So there you go, that's pretty much the face. Now I'm just going to do some really simple eyes. Again, it's a Beauty Pie palette. This is the 10 best matte shades. I've got several of these because I just love it. And I mix them together. So I'm going to use these. Again, I find it's just more natural to kind of put a couple of different shades on my brush. And I'm going to put that all over my lid to give a little bit of a base. And it also just instantly lifts and kind of brightens the eyes. Takes down any redness that you might have. And then I'll use maybe these two. I could pop a little bit of darker one in there as well. And just use that on the outer edge of the lower half of my eyelid. So just sort of smudge that on really, like that. So just a tiny bit of definition, almost nothing. But it's just nice to play around with mixing the colours together so nothing looks too harsh. There we are. Pop that on like that. I think that's just about equal. And then if I've got any darker shadow left on my brush, I just pop it through this little bit of my eyebrows, just because my eyebrows tend to be a bit sparse where they meet the top of my nose. And in fact, talking about eyebrows, I've got quite a good little pencil. It's called Archery. It's an eyebrow pencil. So it's got a little very precise styling bit at one end, and then the other end is a little whizzy brush, eyebrow brush. And this is quite good because you can use little flicky movements just to fill in if you've got any gaps. So you're flicking it like you would flick your eyebrow naturally. Just flick it into shape. And mine are a little bit short, so I try and extend it a little bit just to give a bit more of a sweep, just to frame the eye. I'll just do the other side. As I say, you know, if I was doing this just for a regular day, I probably wouldn't bother with all this, but being in front of a camera, kind of want to give it your best shot, don't you? And then I will just, this is such a good little trick, because when you brush your eyebrows upwards, you're instantly lifting up your eye. It's like a little mini facelift. And then you can sweep them into a nice neat shape. Just like that. I don't tend to do much under my eyes. I find it can look a bit heavy, but I do quite like emphasising my upper lid. This is a really nice kohl pencil. It's called Rock and Kohl. It's a liquid eye pencil. It's a Charlotte Tilbury one, but Beauty Pie have got similar ones. This is called Bedroom Black, so it's quite strong. I've just sharpened it, so it's a really nice soft point, but you can see on here just how incredibly soft it is. I'm barely touching my skin. It's really, really soft. It doesn't drag at all. And I'm just going to put that on the inner outer bit of my lid, just here. And then just do a tiny little tail, just a little tail that just goes upwards. Again, it's about lifting the eye up. So tiny bit in here. It's a nice, clean, freshly sharpened pencil with just a little flick like that. And that's all I'm going to do. I mean, if you want to, you could do a little bit under here, just because it's so soft and gentle, you almost just have to touch the lashes, just for a tiny bit of definition. It's almost too much. Find just a little bit. There we go. And then all you need is your mascara, and I've used this one for years. It's the Clinique one. It's called High Impact Curling Mascara, and it has a curved brush like that. So I'm just going to do a couple of coats. I always start at the outside because that's where I want most of my mascara to be, and pull my lashes up and out using the brush. Like that. So do it in a sort of angled movement. So you're going out that way rather than just up, going out. Yeah, it's quite good, isn't it? It's quite dramatic, the difference. Pop a little bit more on. Do the other side. Almost don't need two coats actually, because it looks a bit artificial. There we go. Maybe I'll pop a little bit more there, but I don't want to look too spidery. There. Then lips. So I'm going to use, this is a Beauty Pie pencil, cheek and lip pencil. I really like these because they're quite soft, they're quite creamy. I find they stay on, and because they've got a pointy shape, it means that you can apply them quite precisely, so you can give yourself a little Cupid's bow. Don't want to use too much. I'm not really a big lipstick person. I might give that a blot. on them to give it a little bit of shine, I like using the Dr. Lip. And that goes pretty much over anything to give it a bit of a gloss. There we are. Might need a tiny bit more blusher. It's always good when you've finished your face, you can just check it. Just do a tiny little bit right in the centre. Where did my brush go? There we go. There we are. So hopefully that will see me through in front of a camera.